Hi, this is Damien Foley, and this is my MBA journey at the Melbourne Business School. And today I'm having an interview here with Toni Scattergood. How are you, Toni?
I'm good, thank you. I'm better now that I finished our data analysis midterm test.
We did, and let's not talk any more about it.
Agree.
Okay, Toni, can you just tell us about you? Where did you grow up, and how did you come to be here in Melbourne?
Well, I'm from Melbourne. I grew up in the Yarra Valley, which is northeast of Melbourne itself. Lots of people know it. It's very famous for its wines. So I grew up there and have been educated in Melbourne, in Victoria. Here I am, still here.
Okay, yeah. Homegrown Melbourne Victorian girl in the Yarra. Okay, country girl in that regard.
Yeah, somewhat country. I grew up on 5 acres, so a semi-rural place, I suppose, and have grown up with horses and motorbikes and those types of fun things that you do on a semi-farm, I suppose you'd say.
There we go. Okay, so you're doing what do you do as far as why are you here for the MBA and why at Melbourne Business School?
The MBA kind of came about when my employer encouraged me to do some further study. Just by way of the nature of the work that we do, it's quite unique and very diverse. So it's good to have a pretty diverse background, and I thought an MBA would offer that. They were actually pretty keen for me to do something more financy, perhaps a diploma of applied finance. But I talked them out of that pretty quick, and I'm glad I did, based on how I felt I went on the data analysis test. Anyway, here I am. I did a fair bit of investigation into what uni I wanted to go to. I did my undergrad at Deakin University, a commerce law undergrad. And so I was pretty hesitant actually of coming to Melbourne, just given the kind of negative connotation that someone that goes to Deakin, does a law degree, has with Melbourne law students.
Okay, rivalry.
Yeah, a little bit of rivalry. But I think the nature of the course and how it's delivered on campus was a real, a point of difference for this MBA as opposed to a lot of others that are somewhat delivered online. And I thought I definitely needed to be here to get the most out of it. Obviously, to meet people and
how have you found meeting the people? Because we do part of this, our group or syndicate work. How have you found that?
Yeah, it's great. You meet a lot of people from very diverse backgrounds, and I think that's a huge advantage. In my syndicate, I'm very lucky to have a few data analysts. So I'm actually not dreading the syndicate assignment for data analysis too bad, and I'm sure I'll be there as I was kind of in the intensive units to do a bit more critical analysis of drafting documents and I suppose analysing things in a written perspective rather than numbers per se.
Okay, so you and I we did first probably meet on getting off the tram. So I recognised Toni was from my class in probably the second week or the first week that we were doing it. And we were walking along and we were talking about what we did as far as our work and different things like that. And I mentioned that obviously I'm with the Victorian Chamber of Commerce. And we started a conversation from that, didn't we?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I work for a company called Infrastructure Advisory Group, and we provide government clients with strategic delivery advice over the life cycle of major transport, mainly transport infrastructure projects. And interestingly enough, on those projects, the government has pretty clear objectives around Aboriginal participation in employment, and there's also in the Victorian Government Social Procurement framework objectives and initiatives that encourage spend through Aboriginal business, I suppose you'd say. Now, I have found myself in the place on working on infrastructure projects where I'm implementing the policies of government, and I've now become quite an expert in that area. So I think I'm obviously working on a different side of the table to what you might be involved in, but definitely, related. And there are challenges with Aboriginal participation and meeting the targets that are set on these contracts that I work on. And so obviously the work that you do is there to support contractors in trying to meet the government's objectives.
Yeah, so obviously the government's got their targets around in the Victorian State Government, and obviously you work around the policy side of that, and I work on the other side, which is the working with the actual businesses. So it was just we just straight away struck up a conversation from that, and it was it was pretty great.
It's really interesting that you've obviously moved for the MBA, but also got a relatively new job as part of that. And I think one of the key aspects from that is bringing your knowledge and expertise of Aboriginals and Indigenous Australians from Queensland down to the Victorian setting. And they've obviously done a lot of work up there, in particular around the mining sector as well. Has had a big influence. So hopefully we can take some of those good learnings and initiatives that you've implemented up there and replicate them on infrastructure projects in Victoria.
It is. So what we're doing down here, it's only new. 2019 it came into play for the state government's social procurement policy. So it's actually absolutely ramped up very quickly because there's so much infrastructure and construction work going on down here for the next 5, 10, 20 years. So yes, that's we could probably talk all night just on this subject. So yes, okay. Is there anything we haven't covered here as far as you're doing? Oh, actually, how do you find the work-life balance not work-life study balance? Because as far as your work commitments, life commitments, and study commitments.
I think a very wise person once told me that there's no such thing as balance when it comes to work and life and whatever else you want to do. It's probably better captured as life. One of the first questions that were asked when we started the MBA was who in this room is busy? Is a busy person, would describe themselves as a busy person. And I think everyone put their hands up. And then he quite rightly reminded us that we were all about to commit to spending an extra, 10 hours more a week study, and that's even if you're doing one subject. So, a typical day in the life of Toni is getting up extremely early, getting in some exercise and going to gym, maybe studying on the train, and then obviously work. And I think a lot of us in the course naturally do not have a 9-to-5 job. It's more than that, and we all want it to be more than that. So I think there are challenges. We try to balance things, but for me, doing the MBA is kind of about the outcome and what I can bring back in terms of learnings and apply so that I can get the most out of the work that I'm doing and the best outcomes for my client. So I think once you put all that in perspective, you can start to see the bigger picture and not worry so much about it's just an exam that I've just got to get a good mark for, or a test today that it doesn't so much matter how I've gone, so long as I learn from these experiences. And it might be that later in my career that there'll become a time where I can use those skills in what I'm doing.
I agree. It's more about the application of it rather than the final mark about it, because I think in part of our studies was around looking at what the mark is versus what the actual use of getting a job was, and whether it applied to whether it was relevant or not. So it's more about the takeaway rather than the final mark.
Yeah, that's right. And I think I've found that, in my short career that's definitely been the case. Obviously very competitive coming out of a law degree to get a job as a lawyer. And I'm not a lawyer now, and I'm glad that I'm not a lawyer. So it's definitely been through, professional networks, getting to know people, and then how you perform at work, not necessarily, which isn't graded. So I think it's a nice thing to keep in the back of your mind that, when you're considering your work-life balance, that it is important to get out there and to network at functions and those types of things, just as much as it is important, obviously, to study.
And do you get out there and network a lot? Or?
Yeah, I actually went to a social procurement event last Wednesday night, which was hosted by an organisation called the Lighthouse Club. And it was very interesting. I was talking from the ex-Minister of Employment, and then they had a guest speaker from John Holland, which is obviously a big construction company, from level crossing removal authorities,
Yes.
Which have done a lot in the social procurement space. And then also owner of a social enterprise. So it was really interesting to see how the different organisations saw the social procurement framework and obviously the benefits that can come from social procurement. So the organisation that had benefited from the framework, but also there was a lot of challenges being a social enterprise and trying to, I suppose, be in the position to be in the, get a contract or a subcontract on these big processes and the risks that are involved in that as well. So it's a very interesting discussion.
It is, because you're looking at what the projects, and when you talk about infrastructure, you're normally talking about high costs. So there is the margins are not great when it comes to construction and infrastructure, and that then weighs against the social value and the social benefits that flow from buying from social enterprises and Indigenous businesses, and how that all gets valued.
And I think one of the challenges that they spoke about was really sending the message to industry that just because you're using a social enterprise doesn't necessarily mean you are paying a premium or getting an inferior product. And that's the real challenge, is to get rid of the perception that government is just doing this to help social enterprises or help small to medium-sized businesses, rather than seeing the holistic economic benefit that often eventuates. And, you can go down and look at the differences that it can make just to one person's life, and some of the initiatives that are happening at the moment, and obviously the innovation that's happening in this space is unbelievable, and it does make a real difference. So it's kind of a heartwarming aspect of delivering infrastructure projects, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I talk with, I've got some members, and their whole business ethos is centered around social values, and they've incorporated that into their business where they can generate a profit from it. It's obviously I can't talk either in too deep about it, but it's just absolutely amazing how they thought about this and the returns that they can generate for the people that the organisations they'll be working for is immense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I told you we could talk all night
about
this. That's very passionate about it, aren't we? Mm-hmm. So, and this is our work. This is what we do for our jobs, and we can come here and talk about it with fellow students, cohorts of the Melbourne Business School, the MBA. Okay, guys, we're going to sign off. We've actually got some drinks. I think we're going to have post celebration.
That's actually what we do at MBS. What we do best, anyway.
Post celebration drinks after our exam. So, okay, guys, we're signing off. This is Damien. You can follow me on YouTube at Damien Foley, or also on the website www.damienfoley.com/MBA. Also on Facebook, Damien Foley Official. Instagram is DG Foley, and LinkedIn is Damien Foley 1. And if you want to catch up with Toni or connect with her,
You can find me also on LinkedIn. I have a pretty unique last name, so I think there's, well, I suppose, both my names, Toni Scattergood. Yeah, catch me on LinkedIn.
Done. Fantastic. Okay, guys, we're going to have some celebratory drinks. Okay, bye.